Welcome to our new video, what to do in the middle game. This is a Dutch defense opening A80. Alvin Yen at lichess.org. Let's check. Today we are going to discuss how to handle middle game when you don't know what to do. My sample is from the game of mine. And here comes the game. I will not put the exact username of the C3PR, my opponent, because he is my friend. Okay, so I will not disclose his username, but instead I use something like C3PR. And if you want to check this game of mine, you have to search it to my profile. But then we're going to analyze this so that we can learn something from this very interesting game. So he starts with d4, e6, knight f3, b6. I want to a little confuse him about this opening. By the way, it's some sort of Larsen. Bishop f4, he plays London system. Okay, and followed by e3 soon. I put my bishop and attack this e4 square. He plays e3 as expected, and I play f5. I usually play f5 in my games. Knight bd2. Knight f5 is Dutch defense, so it was transposed in Dutch defense. Knight f6, extra attack on that e4 square. Now there are three pieces who's attacking the e4 square. We call that threefold attack. Bishop d3, gaining some protection for this e4, but then there are more attackers than defenders in this square. Bishop d6. Now I played bishop d6 to attack his bishop on f4. He has to decide if he's going for bishop g3 or bishop takes d6. He chose bishop takes d6, c takes d6. This is a setup that I've been playing for a lot of years. Then the problem with this setup is that these pawns are doubled. The d6 is quite weak. But we have a solution for this. He plays castles kingside. But instead, I would choose to recommend bishop c3 or bishop c4 in this line. Going forward, castle, I play d5. Now, the point of doubling the pawns is I want to push my d5. Then my d6 pawn on d5 and again, create pressure on e4 square. As we can see, in an opening, we have to create pressure for the opponent, squares or area. And in this particular opening, I want to put pressure on this e4. Now, white has no choice but to play c4 later. But then, if he plays c4 somewhere like this, takes, just to take note that this bishop will become active on this diagonal. Instead, white played c3. I continue my play with knight c6. I have to develop my least active piece, or my worst placed piece. He plays a4. Now, white is ready for middle game. How about black? Black is not yet ready for middle game. He has to castle first. But then here, white has something like a5. Being said, I played a6. So when he plays a5, I want to meet a5 by knight takes a5 or b5. And again, I'm controlling the light squares. He plays queen b3. After a6, he plays queen b3. And then I played rook c8. I am aware that he's going to play c4 on the next move. And I would like to meet that move with knight a5, attacking the queen and the c4 square. He plays queen a3. Now he's attacking my dark squares. My dark squares are weak, and he's preventing me from castling. One of the good things about this pawn structure is that you can play d6 and you can shut down the queen. I can able to castle, and at the same time this pawn protects two squares, two important squares. Why? White would like to move his knight on e5. He wants to capture that square so that he will be able to attack many squares in my camp. But again, after d6, I was able to control something. Two important squares for white. He plays knight b3. Now I castled. Rook f2 c1. He is ready to play this move. But again, I have knight a5, but the knight can take my knight on a5. So this is a huge problem. Okay? So here's the start of a struggle. I've completed my development, already castled and ready for middle game. But white have some problems. His queen is somewhere not good on this a3 square. And again, two of his important square are under my influence. So here, the question lies. What to do in the middle game? Now that we finished the opening part, what to do in the middle game? See it for yourself first. What are we going to do here? What will be our plans? You may check my notation, you may play it, you may pause the video and check yourself. What are the plans available for black? First things first, before we continue, you have to analyze the position before I give you solutions. Are you ready? So let's begin. Here, I saw that I have some space advantage in this position and white is somewhere limited. I also saw the possibility of playing c4, the only move that will free his game, and attacking my d pawn, right? But then, his pieces cannot move forward in my position. This is the first thing you have to do in the middle game. You have to protect your camp. You have to limit the opponent's possibilities as much as possible. But in most cases, in the huge numbers of openings, open games, semi-open games, this is not applicable because players often plays moves which are giving the opponent the opportunity to infiltrate your position, and that is natural in the course of the opening that you play. However, we have some ideas in the openings like limiting the opponent's possibilities or preventing opponent's plan, and this must be applied as much as possible. In here, I first move my g pawn. So first, I want to move pawn e5. But if I move that, my pawn on f5 will be hanging. So in that case, I have to move first to g6. And I also have in mind that soon I can attack on the king side, like playing g5 and g4. How did I came up with these ideas? In the middle game, let us remember that we need to attack. We need to compose a plan. How can we attack the opponent's camp? Why do we need to attack? We don't wait and see, because what will happen is the opponent will build up and create something for us, or he will attack us. So, in that case, we have to be the first one to attack him. But in this case, in this scenario of black, there is no immediate available attack. So we have to cook the position, okay? Or we do something that will increase our advantage or increase our activity of pieces. It's very important that we need to know what to do in a certain position. Here, black cannot force anything. But looking on this position, we can see that there are possibilities, numerous possibilities, like h6, g5, and g4, attacking the king side. Why do we came up with this plan, attacking the king side? Because as you can see, our center is stable. White cannot do anything about it except c4. But after c4 in case, I will just need to take it and push the d5 afterwards. For instance, after g6, yes, he played c4 as expected and I took it, bishop takes, and I can play this move d5. However, we have to take the consequence of this move. For instance, white can play knight e5 himself and occupy e5. The queen will be free on this diagonal, right? So we have to check everything, all the possibilities. Going back, we know that our center is stable. Now we can redirect our attack. So that's why g5 and h6 and g5 are now available to move. Why do we need to move pawns? Because there's no way that we can attack the king side. So what my plan is, I'm going to move these pawns forward to g4, move my rook on c7 and shift it on the king side and create some open lines. I will move my h5, h4, open the position, move the g4 to g3, and when my rook is on the g7, then it's possible now that we can open the position and soon attack white's king. So we need to exchange pawns. We also have available move like knight e5, occupying this square, this important square. And if we are able to do that, for instance, let's say he plays rook b1, which is very bad. Then I play knight e4. If he takes, pawn takes, and now our rook will be open. The important defender will be chased away. And now I can continue my plan. No need to move the g4 and h5, but we have an open file. See, after knight f1, rook to f7, then we have a pressure on f2. He has to protect that. And we can shift our pieces going to the king side and attack those pawns. And soon find a way how to open the position. See, if you have a correct direction in the middle game, then you will finally see plans. Very easy. I hope that this gives light. However, in the game, he plays c4. This is the correct response. I took it, but I did not play d5. I saw it myself that knight e5 and queen will become powerful on the dark squares. So what did I do? I play queen e7 first. He cannot push this d5 to create some damage in my position because I'll be then taking this his pawn and it is protected by the knight. Plays rook c2. He tries to attack on this file. Yes, his intention is good. He has to use the open file. And now this is the move that he hasn't seen or he have not seen. I played a5. It's a good move. Why? I am going to play knight b4 in the next move, attack the rook, and shut the queen on that a3 square. He will have a problem with the queen, and afterwards I can continue my plan in the king side. He plays knight g5, attacking the e6 square. Again, his intention is good, it's good for him. I cannot play d5 myself. And here, I did something unnatural. You will not see this in such games. This is a decision that I have to make. I need to protect that e6 pawn, but then this is somehow connected with being creative and artistic in chess. What I did is knight to d5. But wait, bishop takes and pawn takes. He did in the game. You will have a double pawns. Yeah, that's correct. I'm now attacking the knight. The knight must respond. But in return, I have two double pawns in the center, which is weak. But here's my question. How can you define weaknesses? Really? How do you define weaknesses? Is this pawns weak? Are these pawns weak? The thing is, if you have a way to attack these pawns, then it's weak. But if there's no way, no immediate way to attack these pawns, then these are strong pawns. Right? Why? Because it attacks something, it prevents something. So, this is the consequence of not paying attention to plans. As my opponent, I was able to invite the opponent into a position where he will be confused. This is my plan, this is my strategy. And as you can see, this is a product of decision, a product of skill. There is no specific principle, or I broke the principle here because there's a double pawn. But really, this helps. Okay, so this is what you need to do in the middle game. You need to redesign the game, redesign the position in your favor so that you will be able to have a comfortable position and the opponent will have an uncomfortable position. The queen is shut down, this is shut down. He has only the open file. Now I have extra tempo attacking this knight. The knight has to go back, has to defend himself, and I can continue my plan. That's the point. So let's continue the game. He plays h4, but this move really doesn't help because he starts opening his position. Advanced pawn are good for attacking but bad for defending. I play knight b4 as planned. I attack the rook. He moved rook d2. I moved the rook to c4. Now I am occupying squares in the opponent's camp and increasing my activity. He plays knight to c1. Maybe he has plan of going somewhere here and neutralizing the knight. Yes, that could be good. Rook to c8. Double the rooks. I also have this move for immediate win. But then I chose between getting material or pressuring the opponent. This is another decision that you have to make in a game. You can win material, yes, that's true. But then you really need to find a way how to give problems to the opponent. The pressure is huge. Black is so active here. Why are you going to trade pieces? You are attacking, right? So what I did is I attack on the queen. I was able to create attack on the queen side, confuse him on that side. But I do have plans for the king side. And I was able to do that because of my strong center, my stable center. Let's continue. Knight e2, h6. I chase away his knight. I'm attacking his knight. He moved back. I start moving the pawns. The g5. And now there are open lines for the queen. See? So it's accessible now to the king's side. There's an h file, an important h file. Knight c3 was moved. He wants to occupy the v5. g4, chasing away the important defender. He moves back. But I think this knight h2 is vulnerable. It's unsafe. I will gain tempo. If I go to the h file, I will attack it with a time, with a tempo. Okay, with a timing. So I move the king so that I can move the rook there. Start to transfer. He moves g3. And he's planning to play rook h1 to meet my rook. I play king g6. At the same time, putting my king into safety. Because I know attacks will be there. on this particular area. So I want to stabilize my king. Rook h1, queen h7. Now the knight is passive. He cannot move here because I'll just take the rook. Queen moves there. He wants to neutralize my pieces. Queen h3, important move so that this two piece will become stuck. Then rook goes here, going to h7. Queen f1, I move back. Another thing, we don't want to trade. Why? We are attacking. Don't want to trade. Move back. Queen g2, considering moves like this or knight f1. I move the queen to g5. Being flexible, I want to move my rook here in replace for my queen to trade with the rook on h1. And I also want my queen to be flexible. Somewhere here or going here or here so that I can enter the position. Knight f1, rook. He traded. He goes back. Now white is defending. We we have the initiative. But then the problem is how do we continue? White was able to defend himself well, but then the show must continue. That's the point. We have to reassess the position. We still have active pieces. So as you can see, I can sacrifice their rook takes e3. Okay, but then it has to be really on timing. Okay, so do not be patient. Okay, be patient. That's the point. Be patient. My problem now is the bishop. It's least active. Where are we going to place this bishop? I have a dream that someday this bishop will reach the e4 square. It will become active there. So this is one of my plan for this bishop. But the thing is, my d5 is hanging. So I have to protect this d5 first. Okay, and I have to play on the c file, of course. I want to become the king on the c file, not white. So let's continue. King f1 was played. Okay, queen moves there. I have a threat. I want the king to return here on g1. Knight p5 is played. He's attacking something in my position. I move back the king to protect the pawn. King moves back. Okay, so I move back. Okay, I'm just waiting for white to do. Okay, he moves there because of this move. It will be pinned. Okay, I'm waiting for white. What will he do? So he moves back the knight. I move the queen. Now extra protecting this pawn. Okay, and I have this maneuver in case, or going here in case, going to c4. Rook goes there, queen c8. If I goes here, he will trade. Now I have the chance to attack on this diagonal. There, he moves there. Rook goes back. Okay, so I play both on the queen side and king side. I was able to do it because of the stable center that I have. Space advantage. Queen d2. And now I move back the rook there, playing now on the c file. Rook c1, king g7. I want to return my king there so I can be flexible because as you can see, this is vulnerable now, this area. The defenders are gone. They went on the queen side. King, king g6, king h1, bishop c4 first. Activity of piece. Knight goes there. Knight b3. I was able to capture the d3 square and put pressure on this. Oh, sorry, on this area. Now that is his intention. He wants to trade it with the knight, neutralizing the knight. So I took it. And now here's the thing. Queen to d8. Okay. White can play b3 and trade the rook. Yes. But what are you going to do? if he plays b3. I saw this and I have something there. If he plays b3, then I will be simply taking that pawn and take the a4 next, or move the two pieces there on the h5. And again, this is activity of pieces. And he will not be able to control everything here. So he was confused and maybe he has a short time in this part. So he played knight f1. I played rook h7. Now he is going to infiltrate here on e6. So I return, attacking the queen. He went here. Okay, he went there on a3, attacking this. So he wants my queen to commit on d6 as a defender. Now I was able to move my bishop here. Okay, but the thing is, he didn't notice it. That's the problem. He didn't notice the bishop there. Knight e3 was there. He played knight e3, then bishop to e4. After bishop to e4, the bishop is huge there. So it's very, very powerful. Now the gameplay is going back to the king side. The only thing that you need to do is go there and attack on that area, the king side. So queen c3 was played and checkmate. He blocked it. So there's an important defender. Queen goes there and I took it. He plays f3. I played pawn takes f3. Now queen e1 is played, and here what are we going to do? We need to finish the game. f3, f2, good move. Creating a blockade on f2. Queen takes and mate in one. See, so this is how I was able to play the middle game and was able to compose a plan. Now everything here works because of the increasing of activity. Okay, this is quite weird that he didn't saw this bishop d3, but then I still have another move here. Rook goes to e6. Okay, maybe I can consider rook goes to e6 and queen on e1. Okay, so this is another possibility, of course. And we can also consider this one. Bishop takes, bishop goes here on e2 and goes to f3. Again, this can be passable. Okay, but then with a short time, he was not able to see that queen takes bishop. So this, I think this is the best move. Okay, so it's the same idea. Okay, bishop goes to f3, increasing the bishop's activity, and that is a weakness. So we have to occupy weakness using our pieces, and that's the improvement here. Okay, so again, going back on that middle game part. Okay, so where's that? So this is how I composed the plan, and I was able to realize it. Again, here I want to attack on the king side, and I was successful. But then I am also lucky that I was able to create some sort of distraction on this queen side. I was able to get advantage there, of course, because of the stable center. So the main thing here is you should have a stable center in the middle game. Okay, and again, if we were going to continue, just a recap. Here, you have to be creative. You have to do something special in the middle game. Okay, preparation is not highlight here. I don't prepare for this. I just do it over the board. Okay, so preparation doesn't have to do with this, of course. You should really shape the game. Okay, you really need to shape the game creatively. and find ways how can you confuse your opponent, how can you take advantage of the position, and play well. Important thing in the middle game, you get a comfortable position, flexible position, so you'll be able to reach endgame with no problems. And also, if you can prevent your opponent's plan, then do it. So that's the theme of this game. I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe, like the video and share it. So if you really enjoy this video, please subscribe and share it also to your friends, chess communities, and all other chess players who wants to improve their game and learn something. I'm Yalvin Yen. Check out my other videos also, and keep safe to all. Thank you very much for your spent time, and see you on my next video. But don't forget also to check my training diaries. I have this training session. This is a stream. Okay, it was now day 9. Okay, I stopped for a while, and I was going to day 10. My rating now is 2280 in the lichess.org rapid. So kindly join me in my stream. I'm sharing my training diaries. I'm sharing everything that I learned about chess. Okay, how do I train myself in chess? So you can visit it also. So I have those stream from day 1 up to this day 9. Okay, if I able to reach this 2300 on the day 10, then I'll have a bonus to you, all of you guys. Okay, so thank you for your time and attention, and see you next time.